where the lingering crisis at the Kogi State House of Assembly may be taking another dimension as security personnel prevented anyone from entering into the hallowed chambers. The Commissioner of Police explained that a tip-off revealed the thugs plan to vandalize the premises of the House. The House has been in crisis since December 2015 after the impeachment of the Speaker, Jim Olawal, and some other principal officers.
Armed policemen mount surveillance at the Kogi State House of Assembly, barring anyone from making an entry. There's an intelligence report of a planned disruption of peace and order by thugs. That's according to the police.
We received information that some disgruntled elements were trying to go there to vandalize and burn the place. It was as a result of that information that we made deployment there in order to secure the place. You know, it's a government building and it's a very important government infrastructure. So we should not allow it to be under any form of threat at all.
The House has been divided after the purported impeachment of the Speaker, Jim Olawal, his deputy, and the minority leader. The controversial impeachment also brought the emergence of Honorable Osiyi Ojo as the factional Speaker of the House.
Just yesterday, we were informed that our new brown bulldozers and graders are being taken away. Is that what government should be? One person will be there today, another person will be there tomorrow.
Though the lawmakers are on recess, the police are also determined to retain their presence at the House of Assembly by constructing a tent over their heads.
The Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Mr. Prt.2, says government will continue with the existing power projects inherited from the previous administration, while also embarking on new policies and projects that will improve electricity supply. Mr. Fashola made the promise after visiting some power projects in Abuja as part of his nationwide inspection tour of existing projects under his ministry.
The minister's first point of call is this 1.2 megawatt solar power plant in Durumi, a suburb of Abuja, aimed at lighting up the village. It is one of the federal government's electricity power projects for rural communities that is currently not working, as officials say the project is not self-sustaining.
We are wheeling power from Gwagwalada.
Next is the transmission substation along the airport road, which the contractor said will be completed soon.
The issues that has been resolved between us and NDPHC with regard to the funding of the project, this project will be completed in the next 2 months.
However, the Minister of Works, Power and Housing, Mr. Prt.2, says tariff is one challenge facing the sector. He says if the reviewed tariff regime is allowed to stay, it will encourage more investors.
One of the problems we have seen is tariff. If we allow the tariff regime as now reviewed to stay, instead of two-year tariff changes, we now have a 10-year tariff. Inside that tariff order, the same order that reviews the tariff upwards, that same order says take out the fixed charge. That same order also makes provision now for willing buyer and willing seller to say if you reach an agreement to buy power at a price higher than the market tariff, go and do your power. What that will mean is that some people who can afford to even pay more will get off the grid, do their own arrangement. Whatever they take off the grid comes back to the masses.
He also assures that government will continue with the existing power projects.
The options to us are start from the beginning or repair and manage what you have. As I've told some people privately, it's like a chess game that you didn't start. You are now in the middle. Somebody has played the game halfway and you must continue.
Poor electricity supply is one major problem that successive governments in Nigeria have not been able to address, even as citizens continue to yearn for it.
And electricity consumers without meters may have to be patient as distribution companies suggest the metering problem is currently being resolved. Our next report examines the various challenges of power production and distribution along the value chain.
November 2013 effectively marked the complete takeover of power assets, especially generation and distribution, by private owners, putting to a successful completion of the 2010 power roadmap midwifed by the former president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Since takeover till date, it's been 2 years, and it seemed to many that nothing significant has changed, especially from the consumer point of view. On record, statistics has it that the highest peak generated was in November 2015, and it's put at 4,883.9 megawatts. The value chain for electricity starts with generation, meaning that by December 2014, installed generation capacity had risen to 7,445 megawatts, with actual generation put at 3,900. Next is transmission, which the federal government manages. Experts are of the opinion that this remains the weakest link in the value chain. Last year alone, additional 1.6 billion naira was earmarked for upgrade. For the new owners, massive investment is the only way to go, but all the efforts will amount to nothing if energy remains elusive in our homes and business premises.
There has never been an appreciable improvement. Okay? For instance, now you come to shop in the morning, the light is off, only for it to come around 6 or 7. We still buy fuel. Some of us who run Biafra still buy ice block. So where is the benefit?
Technical and commercial losses are said to be largely responsible for inadequate supply of electricity on the downstream cadre of the value chain. While technical losses, as it implies, relates to all the assets transmitting power, while commercial losses deals with energy theft, unbilled customers, customers who evade payment, and collection losses. If metering takes care of commercial losses, why is everyone not metered?
If it was possible, we would want to meter everybody in one day. But this is a regulated industry. The amount of capital expenditure that is available for Ikeja Electric to spend in a particular year is highly regulated and is limited by what has been provided for in the tariff, the multi-year tariff order.
Are the distribution companies overwhelmed with service delivery, and what's the way out?
The promised land is to be able to meter consumer effectively, collect collect revenue efficiently, and make sure that we deliver good services to Nigerians.
At a recently concluded meeting in Abuja between the stakeholders and the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, far-reaching conclusions were made, bordering essentially on massive meter rollout, gas supply to fire the generating plant, and a cost-reflective tariff to encourage more investments. I hate to burst your bubbles, but effectively from 1st of February 2016, a new tariff system will kick in. For instance, customers under the Eko and Ikeja Distribution Company will get an increment of 10 naira per kilowatt hour and 8 naira per kilowatt hour respectively. And this is for the R2 consumers, talking about the residential homes. However, the good news is that in the new price regime, fixed charges have been eliminated, so you can only pay for what you consume. It goes without saying that the new asset owners can't continue with excuses for non-performance. More investment, however, is required, and now that a cost-reflective tariff is in place, consumers should witness improved service delivery on a smart network model across all value chain. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Indeed, as from Monday, February the 1st, a new tariff regime will begin across the country, going by the approval given to the distribution companies by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. This approval is being enforced despite widespread resistance by electricity consumers. So joining me now on the news at 10 to look at the implications of this for supply and consumption is an energy consultant and the CEO of the CSS Technologies, Engineer Arthur Usiago. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you so much.
You've heard from the Minister of Power there. If you want better services, then you have to pay more. But looking at it and the timing of it, is this really the time for people to pay more, looking at what is going on in the country at the moment?
Yeah, Ijoma, my opinion is that this shouldn't be at this stage. Because when the new minister came on board, part of what we advised is that they need to look at the tariff once again. And if they have to talk about increment, it shouldn't be now because we don't have power. The same problem we had 4 years ago, 5 years ago is what we are still having. I have the NERC multi-year tariff order 2.1, which is a framework that gives NERC the power to increase tariff. This is within 2012 to 2018. But if you look at Section 6 of that, of the MYTO2, it clearly states that there will be a review, but the review will be very minor. Let me read Section 6, I quote.
Quickly.
Minor reviews of the tariff to be conducted biannually to update the total cost of electricity. Now, but what they are proposing now is not a minor review, which negates the principle of this multi-year tariff order 2.0. Now, if you are making review, it is not only just on the consumers. There are some other things we expect the discos to do. For example, the multi-year tariff order also enshrines that the discos are supposed to improve on the losses of electricity generated, but they are not doing that. And now everything is now being pushed to the customer. For me, this is the wrong time to be talking about increment in tariff.
Let me just ask you something about estimated billing. For those who don't have prepaid meters, we're going to get to the metering issue. In this new price regime, what is that going to be? I mean, we heard that they're talking about fixed charges not being there, but others say that the unit per kilowatt, explain that to me, has actually gone up.
Yes, it took quite a lot of effort to take off this fixed charge. What has happened now is the price every customer is going to pay per kilowatt hour of electricity consumed. Now, it's been increased from the reports you read up to maybe 20%. That is quite high. So even if you are metered, the cost of electricity has now been increased, taking effect by Monday, which means whether you have a meter in your premises or not, it is the cost per kilowatt hour that your meter is going to calculate. So it's still the same kettle of fish. We are now going to pay so much for electricity that is not even available yet. Now the discos, based on the provision of this multi-year tariff order, are supposed to put in serious investment to improve what they got after the privatization. But if you look around your environment, we expected that by now we should be seeing new transformers coming up. We should be seeing new lines being spanned, but it's not there. They have not actually made so substantive investment in the electricity distribution chain. So if that has been done, nobody will complain that the increment is coming at this stage, but that has not been done.
All right, Managing Director of CSS Technologies, Engineer Arthur Usiagu. Thanks for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, when the News at 10 returns, we'll have an economic perspective on the new electricity tariff, where industry players highlight why consumers should give it a chance, and that will be on business. Do join us again.